Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another video. This time a Skyrim video. I started playing Skyrim quite recently actually, as a kind of stopgap until Fallout 4 came out. I'd not played it before because I wasn't such a fan of the whole elves and dragons and kind of that sort of thing. I'm more of a science fiction guy as opposed to a fantasy guy, but I tried it out anyway because I'd completed Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, and this was the closest kind of thing. So I quickly fell in love with the game because it is amazing, and it's very popular for a reason. And also I fell in love with modding the game. So I basically decided I've got a couple of installs, and I thought on one of my installs, not my main playthrough install, I would go through the game and see just how big and expansive I could make each of the cities. So we're going through. We're going to start with Riverwood, and we're going through vanilla, as you call it, Riverwood here. So you had Sven and Hilda's house, and the Riverwood Trader, and the Sleeping Giant Inn, and all of that sort of stuff. And you walk through it, and that is basically the end of it. Vanilla Riverwood is still a decent looking place. I mean, it's one of the first places that you see in the game, so I'm sure they wanted to make it look nice. There's plenty of trees and fauna around, but I think we can do better. And that's what mods are for, so let's see just how expansive we can make Riverwood. Let's call it the ultimate Riverwood. See, this is a different save and the weather's changed. Lovely snow. So I'm using, amongst other things here, expanded towns and cities, and straight away you can see that the entrance has moved. There's more stuff here. There's a little cabin mod that I downloaded there as well, which nicely sat in next to the guard area at the front. And you'll have seen as we were walking up as well, there was an immediate new kind of building over on the left hand side on the little island, so let's go and have a look at that. Across this nice new little bridge here as well. So this is the Riverwood Lake House. One of a few things that you could take up this area with, but this is the nicest one. I will say, as we're walking through this, this was a test just to see how expansive you could get Riverwood. It does, with all of this stuff in there, it does kind of mess with the pathing, the nav meshes of all the people in the town, and the few kind of added people that you get with the expanded towns and cities. So I wouldn't necessarily choose all of this setup for your main playthrough, but it's still nice to see just how big you can make Riverwood. Let's have a look inside. So it's very warm and glowy inside. With your torch bug down there and the Centurion Dynamo core all the way over here in Riverwood. That's a reasonable sized player home essentially. Lots of places to store your stuff. A little map of Skyrim there, a map of Tamriel. Very nice. Kind of got it more for the outside look and the fact that it adds a little bit to Riverwood area as a whole. Again, this is just a test just to see how expensive you could make Riverwood. And you really can turn Riverwood into quite a large town with all of this sort of stuff. Fishing stuff there. Not all of these do fit in perfectly, so I had to use Jackson's Positioner, which is a great little mod to fill in some gaps that got left in the terrain. Again, another reason why I wouldn't necessarily use this on a main playthrough. That I just, again, wanted to see just how big you can get it. And having to mess around with that sort of stuff every single time you load up a new game, a little bit annoying. So this is a tiny little mod called the Riverside Cabin, and it really is small. So bears up on the wall there, little kind of hunter's cabin, although we do have a grindstone in here as well. Very nice. But it actually kind of looks like a nice little guard outpost there next to the guard's watch point. And there again is Sven and Hilda's house. So take a walk past that. There's a Riverwood Trader, the usual mill. I did also try this with JK's Riverwood, because you can get a patch that kind of merges that and enhanced towns and cities together, but it's not really that good. There's a lot of clipping and it is very hard on the frame rate as well, so I decided to skip that. I've actually got a pretty decent machine. I've got a 980 Ti, plenty of Corsair RAM, and I've got a 3570 i7 processor, so I've got plenty of power to run this. But still, once you start putting things like, I mean, JK's mods are very hard on the processor. They look fantastic. This did look good with JK's Riverwood in there if you didn't notice the little clipping issues. But the frame rate was terrible, and I still wanted a reasonable frame rate. So this up here is not part of Enhanced Towns and Cities. A lot of what you see is part of Enhanced Towns and Cities, but this is in fact the Riverwood Hunter's Cabin. I haven't done the little quest to get the key for it yet. This is a nice little add-on as well, and it all uses the default assets of the game. I would say as well, you might see little things going on with this. I've also got some default mods running, like Birds of Skyrim, which adds a few additional types of birds in there, and I've got Tamriel reloaded, trees and grasses and so on. So let's walk down the back of Riverwood here. You see the backs of some of the extra houses there. And what have we got here? You don't normally have anything built into the rock here, so this is the Riverwood Chapel. A lot of these are buried deep in the Skyrim Nexus. So you really have to go, if you search for Riverwood, you'd really have to... Okay. I guess that guy must be drunk or something, or stoned or something like that. He seems to have forgotten how to sit down on a bench. So this is a pretty basic little area. There's nothing in that room. It's quite large, but very simple. And another kind of player home sort of thing. Yeah, he's remembered how to sit down now. Excellent, good job, mate. Little prayer area here, and a lot of books about the commands of the 9 divines, or whatever it is. We've got another little area down here as well. And this is the last area of the Riverwood Chapel, which is basically a burial site. And there's quite a lot of Draugr in here, although none of them are actually awake as such. They don't get attacked by anything down there. Let's close that up, and let's leave this guy just to sit there and ponder how, see if he can remember next time how to sit down properly the first time. Back out into Riverwood Main. So coming down here, and there's some default kind of houses here. Close this gate so the balls do not escape. There's no real... I've got very light EMB on here. I've got the standard Skyrim HD textures. New horse there's the sleeping giant, just to keep the frame rate acceptable. And this is where the big player home Leaf Rest can be, but that was absolutely crushing my frame rate on this one. So I went for the Princess Ivy Cottage instead, which is very quaint. A nice little place. I do like this place. Everything you need really, plus a lot of insects in jars, and an arcane enchanter table right next to that. Guess you're storing them ready to do some nasty stuff with them. Always close up your gate. Tidy home is a happy home. So you see something big in the background there, which is not normally there, so we're going to skip past that now. Come back to that a little bit later. The bridge is slightly changed as well, and this is a nice little mod called Skyrim Bridges, which makes you can get it so it makes every single bridge in the game a custom design, which is pretty cool. And this here is the Riverwood Mill House. We're going to skip past that just quickly to take a look at another little house that is added by Expanded Towns and Cities. This is nothing to do with the Riverwood Mill House, but there you can get the patch to make the Riverwood Mill House work with Expanded Towns and Cities. A little extra dock there, all these kind of little details that you don't get in default Skyrim. So the Riverwood Mill House was another place where I needed to use Jackson's positioner to cover up a few little bits. It wasn't too much work. Much of the stuff that obviously you can add to these kind of things is player houses. So this is another player house. Lots of little rooms in there. Another little room. Take a look downstairs. So I do like the Riverwood mill house as well. It looks pretty cool, and it does feel in keeping with Riverwood that there would be a windmill down there. More bugs in jars. Everybody loves bugs in jars, and rather that the slaughter fish, they're not very nice looking fish. They do look like they've been mutated in a radioactive swamp. So let's get out of there. Some more sleeping downstairs, although I'm not sure I'd really want to sleep downstairs near the smelter and everything. Probably be pretty hot. Yeah, another pretty cool home. So it's still not done around here. There's another thing that you can add just up the path. The path that you would normally take to Bleak Falls Barrow and that sort of area. And that is another Riverwood chapel. Although I do prefer this one. This one is actually a French mod, so it's the Chapelle du Riverbois. And I haven't yet found out how to rename that. And this is a bit darker inside. I do like the atmosphere in here. Really nice glow from the lights. And a kind of gothic architecture. It is a chapel though, so I'm not really sure what you would be using a forge for in a chapel. Interesting. Obviously a player home, so that's why it's there, but not necessarily the most amazingly lore-friendly stuff with the weapon plaques and what appears to be a miniature gildergreen tree there as well. Ah, very nice nonetheless. So, actually let's have a look from the other side. See what it does look like. They're very nice. I do like that. Good little addition, and it's out of the way. What I was looking for is things that were near enough to be classed as part of Riverwood, but out of the way to the point where there won't be any kind of nav mesh errors or anything like that which is going to cause your game to crash. And I had been trying to keep clear of any mods that showed deleted nav mesh or anything like that, just to keep as clean a Skyrim as possible. You get out of here. Go on, get out of here, dear. So there is another thing a little bit down the way. You see the back of the castle there, and we'll talk about that in a bit. The Hermit's Treehouse. I only found this on Steam. Couldn't find this on the Skyrim Nexus. Okay, Mr. Wolfie. How's Wolfie? A Terminator reference for you there. And I did like this. You know, normally you can see it from quite a distance without the castle there. And again, it's another player home. All the basic kind of stuff that you need. More weapon plaques there as well. And you get a nice view of Riverwood. And you also get a nice view of Whiterun as well. And the Honningbrew Meadery, Pelagia Farm and all that sort of stuff. I think, I'm going to say it's close enough to Riverwood to count as part of an expanded Ultimate Riverwood. Let's go down. The short. I accidentally took the short way. Let's go down the short way. That looks like we've gained the attention of the wolf again. Oh, go away. Oh, let's get out of here. Let's have a proper look at this castle then. So this is one of many Riverwood castles, but this is there's one that's very, very gothic. There's also one called Castle Gondwyn, I believe, which is up in the mountains, although I did have some problems with that, so I skipped past that one. I did actually find as well that this one, which is just called Castle Riverwood, there's a few errors in it if you look in loot, and it'll tell you there's some deleted nav mesh and stuff, but I didn't really find any problems. What I did find is that this one is actually pretty frame rate friendly.
Need something?
Nope. Just browsing. So in there, that's the full castle, and then in the other door that you see here, there's actually a whole underground area there. So I'm not going to go in because I really don't want to drag the video out massively, but this is quite an expansive castle. Yeah, he obviously doesn't want to drag the video out massively either. So yeah, let's have one last little walk through. See the mill over there. Izmir the New Horse. Don't know if that's how you pronounce it. The Ivy Cottage. There's the Riverwood Trader. Back to Sven and Hilda's house. So, in conclusion, you can make Riverwood a much more expansive and vast place than it is in the default game. Ready for a place full of adventure and new things to find. So I'd like to thank you for watching the video again, and I hope to see you in another video in the future. Take care. See you later.